Hey there, Gemini Ascendant. So I'm having a look at the astrological new year for you, starting from the spring equinox, that's in the Northern Hemisphere, the March equinox 2026, taking you right the way through to the March equinox in 2027. And what a year we've got. In the early part of the video, I talk about all the different things that are happening with quite a lot of specifics. With this, I'm going to sort of break it down more for you as somebody with Gemini rising. Now, with this example, I'm using a whole sign model to really talk about where the planets are going to be for you in this whole year ahead. If you are somebody who, when you look at your birth chart, you see that you've got Gemini and the sign of Cancer in your first house, then it'll also be really helpful for you to listen to the Cancer forecast too. There'll be a little bit of they'll both be relevant to you for sure. So anyway, I'm going to go through it in this kind of logical order to really help to break down some of the themes, some of the things that you're going to be working on in this whole year ahead. So I'm going to start with the eclipses stroke nodes. So this is really going to show how you're really changing your focus in this year ahead. And currently at the start of this, the North Node is at 8 degrees in the sign of Pisces, and then by the time of the next equinox, it's I think at 19 degrees in the sign of Aquarius. So that the North Node is going from Pisces and into Aquarius, and then the South Node is going from Virgo and into Leo. Now, if in your birth chart you've got planets in between these degrees of 19 Aquarius to 8 Pisces, and the mirror for Virgo and Leo, then these planets or these angles are going to be really highlighted in this year ahead. And to me, it just shows that where these angles are showing up, and for you it would be from your 10th house to your 9th and your 4th house to your 3rd. This is really important because it's really going like the 10th house and the 4th house in particular, where the North Node has been for quite some time and the South Node has been for quite some time, has been really making you consider the role of home, safety, security and your roots versus what it's like when you're out in the big world and when you're fending for yourself and what you'll do to survive, and also how you'll become an authority in your own self. To me, what this is also showing is that you're coming from your position as somebody who has maybe attained some authority in this last year in terms of your career, and definitely got a feeling of, maybe you've got a better direction now. When the node passes over into the sign of Aquarius and the South Node into the sign of Leo, and that is July 26th, I think, off the top of my head. I've got it written down here somewhere. The 26th of July. When that happens, you're going to be coming into a place where it's a lot more about connection, a lot more about fun, and also a lot more about the stuff that happens with connection, like new thoughts coming in, new philosophies, new belief systems, potentially some travel as well. And so there is an opening out. And then, from July until the following March in 2027, you'll really be experiencing life through an expanded lens. It should actually feel a lot more enlivening. The energy is there to study, to learn, to go deeper into the things that are really lifting you up and helping you to feel free. You might also find that your thoughts and your belief systems are heading a lot more into the genre of philosophy, politics, religion, spirituality. So you're really thinking about, what is the big picture of life about? On the other hand, with the South Node, you're reminded to connect with people, maybe from the past, maybe people from childhood. You're also really reminded to feel that sense of belonging with the people of the past. And so, I don't know, maybe they help you feel stable whilst you're expanding, but that's one of the themes for this year ahead. Now, Jupiter, he is, where is he? Jupiter is going to be going into the sign of Leo. Now you'll see I've put 3 dots in here to represent Jupiter's movement, because at the start of this year he is he is midway through the sign of Cancer. Then he moves right up to about 27 degrees in the sign of Leo. And then he goes retrograde. I don't know where he actually ends up. Hang on. He ends up at 17 degrees in the sign of Leo at the end of this year. Funnily enough, where he ends up this time is just where the North Node is next March. So March 2027, you'll have Jupiter in Leo and the South Node pretty much in a conjunction. But I've put in this dot here because Jupiter is also becoming part of something that I'm calling the circuit of inspiration, but it's a planetary alignment that's coming up mid-July, say from the 19th to the 23rd of July. Jupiter's involved, and that's going to be in Leo. Really, with Jupiter moving from your second house, where he's helped you to feel a lot more comfort in your self-esteem, to really feel a sense of appreciation for yourself and to connect into feelings of increased value. And now that could have translated into more money. I hope it did for you, because that would be a lovely outcome. But, this has been where you've been really resolving your resource issues. Is there a free flow of resources to you? What can you do that can help resources come in more easily and naturally? And so again, this is really encouraging you to go easy on yourself, to raise your own level of self-esteem so you can earn more money. It's more that the more good you see in yourself, the more good other people see in you, and they obviously want to then pay you. So he's been really working hard on that. And at the start of this year, up until the 29th of June, when he goes into Leo, he is really working on your self-esteem. So use the next few months to really increase your level of confidence, increase your feeling of satisfaction with what it is, the gift that you're bringing to the world. And then when he goes into the third house, it's going to get a lot busier in terms of your community, the local community that you belong to. And so I think there's this energy of belonging that's coming up, even though, on the one hand, you're really exploring the deeper context of the world and life and spirituality and stuff. There's a really warm feeling in your local community, a really strong sense of belonging, and also a sense that you and your special gifts are really needed. So that's your invitation to get involved and to start sharing of your gifts and to stay in touch with people and to see where you're needed. I'm sure you won't have to look very far. You'll be snapped up with Jupiter going through the third house. It should get quite busy socially. Now, Saturn and Neptune is really showing where spirit is taking shape in this year ahead. Like, what big plans have you got that allow you to feel like you're really doing something and living by your purpose? And what action are you going to be taking? Well, this is, Neptune is going to be just in the first 5 degrees or so throughout this year. Saturn is going to go just out of the conjunction with Neptune. He's going midway into the sign of Aries, and then he's going to retrograde back into a conjunction, not an exact conjunction, but, they're mostly in a conjunction during this year together. Now, in the sign of Aries, there is this feeling of, I must take action. I really want to bring something into the world. I really want to manifest something. And where it's showing up in your 11th house is really emphasizing the need for networking, the need for getting involved in something that feels like a much bigger process, like you're doing something with your tribe, you're doing something with people who you have an affiliation with. To me, this is about you like bringing maybe a group value or a group vision to life. So I wonder how that's working. And you might also wonder around July time, with this circuit of inspiration time that I'm talking about, Jupiter's going to be really well placed to help you, as is Pluto. So it feels like you could be expanding your network in this year ahead, because with Saturn here, you're most likely bringing in a lot of connections with businessmen or women, powerful people who have a certain amount of surety and respect. And quite a good grounding in the world around you, people that can make things happen. And there's also a lot of artistic, soulful, musical, creative types as well. So I would be kind of excited to be meeting with people, especially people that feel like they're your tribe. Feels like you're building something with them. There's a much bigger vision that's coming forward for you. Now, I always think the 11th house is also about the law of attraction as well. Having these two together is really showing that you're activating the dreams that you're wanting to bring out. It's better if you don't do it alone. It's better if you find people to collaborate with. And what better collaboration partner could there be than God or the universe or the universal energies or whatever those words you would use to describe the energy of like the interconnectedness of life. And so I really think there's a mystical aspect there. And if you believe in things like the law of attraction, I think that's going to be helpful as well. Now, Chiron is going to be moving from Aries and into the sign of Taurus. He's moving over on the 19th of June. He's going to be there almost 3 months to the day when he heads back into Aries on the 18th of September. Now, when he heads into Taurus, to me, it feels like healing. Anything to do with healing is going internal. It's really bringing up where there might be mind problems, like where you have really stored things in the back of your mind. To me, it feels like the things that you've maybe long forgotten, you threw them away and kind of locked the door behind it. To me, it feels like things are unlocking and unraveling in your unconscious mind. So in terms of healing, that's where I would start. If there is a feeling of, pain or something coming up, it might be a bit mysterious actually, because in the 12th house, it can sometimes appear as kind of elusive, difficult to put your finger on. However, I think the keys to it are in your unconscious mind. Now, in the 12th house, there's usually a lot of fears that come up and self-sabotage and things like that. So anything that's coming up as a stubborn or persistent pattern, my advice is to find someone that can help you sort of explore your unconscious mind in a way that feels safe to you and also empowering, not someone that says, okay, this terrible thing happened, let's go search for it. Because that's just going to take you deeper into the pattern. But, with language like, I wonder what happened, I wonder what might be going on, that kind of speculative inquiry where somebody is by your side, supporting you, like a hypnotherapeutic thing, NLP. And there's lots of really great techniques out there that can help sort of explore that. Also, there might be a sort of private study of something where a discipline such as breath work, meditation, very internalized 12th house things, journaling is very 12th house activity. And of course, Chiron's going into Taurus. Now, obviously, he's not staying there. He's just going there for 3 months during the summer. However, in 2027, he will also move back into Taurus, and then he'll be there a while. And so the Taurian energy of fresh air, natural light, connecting into the natural circadian rhythms, getting your sleep pattern sorted, all of these would be really good to invest in this year, and maybe grounding bed sheets or something like that. So I'm not selling those, by the way. Though if you sell them and you're looking for someone to talk about them, I'm very happy to be an affiliate. But yeah, the movement of Chiron here is just like showing you a sense of regulation and stability is what's coming up. And so if you can get going with that right now, you'd be really saving yourself a lot of time and trouble, and you would be activating the inner healing codes right now. So that's my hot advice there. Now, Uranus, this is the big one. And it's, I should have mentioned this right at the start actually, but because it's probably the most stunning thing that's going to be happening for you. Uranus is coming into your first house. This is a big one. You had a taster of it last year. When Uranus comes into Gemini, he's going to be there for quite some time. Well beyond 2030. This is going to be about 7 years. That's his approximate. I haven't actually got the last date at the moment. I don't know where it is. I can't find it on my notes. So he's going to be with you for a long time in your first house, and you will already have started to feel that that sense of independence coming up, that feeling of there's a call for something new. There's a call for something that's going to disrupt your current patterns. Maybe you're feeling like you're wanting to define yourself in a more unusual way, which, I can absolutely see why you would do that. Anything that feels tight, like a yoke around your neck, anything that feels heavy on your shoulders is going to be kind of shaken off. There is this enormous sense of freedom that is activating in your chart in this year ahead. And it's a long time coming. Like I said, you got a taste of it last year, and then it kind of went back into the 12th house. Now, when Uranus was in the 12th house, it was awakening your intuition. It was activating really your ability to tune in and to know, like this channeled knowing, this inner voice that allowed you to tune into all that is and to be able to get a really good sort of download, I guess. And so as Uranus is coming into your first house, you can sense BS a mile off. And so, of course, that's going to change your core personality. It's going to be making some shifts. You're no longer able to say, oh, yeah, that's right. You know, if you know that something's not right, if you know it's wrong. And so I do think you're going to quite possibly appear out of sequence to people. You know, you're going to appear different. And because of that, you might find that people start reacting to you in a slightly different way, as if you're a problem or as if you're a scapegoat or a black sheep, you know. And if you grew up with that, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's not that you are a black sheep or that you're a problem. It's just that you're identifying what's not right. You're identifying what feels wrong, what feels like bullshit. And you're really wanting to live by your own rules. Things that you set for yourself. And even when you set things for yourself, you're still retaining the right to do it your way and to change your mind. And, you know, so that's going to take a while for the people around you to get used to it. If you are in a really sort of close family network, or if you are in a very close relationship, it can be really helpful if you could find a way to express where you're coming from, so that the people that are close to you know not to take it personally, but to recognize that you're going through an important life stage right now, which is tuning into your independence, understanding the need for freedom, originality, and there is a sense of something really new and very unique about you that's coming forwards. It's a really important stage. Pluto, I mean, he's been in your ninth for well over a year now. Almost 18 months, in fact. And so you're getting used to that. And he is creating a much deeper curiosity for things, and a much deeper need to understand how power works. Now, is that you're understanding the power of religion or the power of governments, or who knows? Or is it that you're understanding the power of spirituality, the power of knowledge, the power of teaching, the power of sharing? Because the ninth house is really opening you up. So carry on doing that. You know, it's really showing, I guess one thing, you know, I've asked the question, what control leads to surrender? Anywhere where you're feeling controlled by a narrative of some sort, it's really difficult for you to feel that sense of freedom. And of course, that's going to not really fit into the Uranus rebellion happening here. And so to me, it feels like you might surrender to some ideologies that you've had. You might say, no, actually, I give up. That's really not for me anymore. It's almost like you get your white flag out. You might recognize that some things have really taken hold in your understanding of the world, are really transforming this year, and you're having to really let go of the things that you've decided about. Now, more specifically, I want to point out a few times, not necessarily in any order, but one of the times that's most exciting and getting things moving would be around the 19th to 23rd of July. That is when we've got Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, and Jupiter all at 4 degrees in air and fire signs. Now, if you look at your chart, if you've got something at 4 degrees in Libra or 4 degrees in Sagittarius or really close by, then this kind of basket of or like circuit of inspiration is going to be creating a hexagon in your chart, or even a Star of David, because it would go a grand trine and another grand trine. It will be really powerfully connecting in your charts. Even if it's not, you know, you might find that one of these points is connecting to one of your angles, your sun, your moon, or in fact any planet, but those angles and sun and moon would be the most important things. You know, anywhere where these are connecting, it's really showing you where you're being inspired, you know, what sort of changes are happening in your life. And specifically here, I would say your personality is freeing up. It's becoming a lot more independent, a lot more rebellious, and you're no longer willing just to accept everything you're told. You're really on your own journey of your own knowledge. You're also looking to connect with people very powerfully. And there is this very warm heart feeling of belonging that is arriving. And at the same time, there is a way to work with other people, a way to collaborate and to bring much deeper wishes and goals into reality. Now, this may well involve some travel, you know, like the juxtaposition between home and your local community, and also being away and something really powerful far, far away. But the thing that's really holding it together, I would say, is the need for independence, the need for you to figure it out yourself. Now, this is really going to be highlighted as well around the new moon in Aries, which is happening on the 16th of April. So just under a month away, when there's going to be 7, I kid you not, 7 planets in the sign of Aries at the same time. This is going to be really strong, and it's going to really highlight everything to do with people in your life, in particular the networks, the friends of friends, maybe people that aren't really super close to you, but the people that have come in through your energetic output. You know, people are starting to circulate around you. They're starting to feel your vibe and to sort of relate to it. If you are wanting to create something, I think between now and the new moon in Aries, it would be a fantastic time to really consider the kinds of people you want in your life and to take some small little steps towards that, small steps to getting to know some of these people. It might even involve like writing a letter to, or like, you know, contacting people that inspire you, that you feel that you've got an alignment with, because it's such a strong energy. I think it would be crazy to kind of ignore it, really. I think there's going to be a real sort of motivation and activation around there. Then there's also the new moon in your first house, which is happening on the 15th of June. So a couple of months after that, that's going to be another time when you're going to get that feeling of a reboot. And yeah, it's given that Uranus will have just recently gone into your first house, it's going to have a lot of excitement. There's going to be a lot of energy of independence, you know, that you're really wanting to bring forwards. You know, you might not be that reliable around the time of the first, you know, this new moon in Gemini on the 15th. You might find that actually you just want to kind of drop what you were doing and kind of get involved with something else altogether. So I really think the sort of Gemini energy, which is very much about two things at the same time, I think you'll be really playing with polarity around the time of the 15th. And the last time that I really want to highlight as being a time that could bring in a lot of emotionality would be the 24th of November, when there's a full moon in your first house. Full moons in the first house often bring in a lot of overwhelm. So my advice to you is a good week beforehand, really go through what's coming up as a current theme and think, okay, that's too much, that's too much, that's too much. Let go of that, create some space. So keep creating as much space as you can, so that as the full moon happens in your first house, you can really fully feel the emergent energy of the things that are absolutely for you, and really go with it. To me, that's a real birthing point. So excuse me, that's your lot for this year ahead. Obviously, there's going to be lots more themes that come out. It's a very, very dynamic year, and I'm absolutely going to be talking more about it, but hopefully that will give you a sense of what's going on. If you found this helpful, but would really like to personalize this with your own chart, then get in touch. Invite me to work with you. I've got a link with Calendly, which is my online calendar. If you see a space, feel free to book in it and we can get to work. If you would like to see more of my forecasts, I do a daily short sort of 10-15 minute forecast Monday to Friday in my free community on School. It's also where I teach astrology as well. So if you like this intensity and the way I look at things, you might want to learn with me as well. Anyway, if you do, just join my free community. All of those links are there. Anyway, have a really happy new astrological year and catch up with you soon. Lots of love.